I don't buy new cars, I don't buy brand names. I go to Goodwill for my clothes. I like to save money, I like to find bargains. It's the life I chose. I throw nothing away, I'll find a use another day for all this junk I keep. My neighbors all hate me, they abuse and berate me, 'cause I like doing it cheap. Yeah, I like doing it cheap. Welcome to another episode of Doing It Cheap. Something else I had to tell you. When I put on the video about how to build a cheap, quick, easy pallet bench or pallet workbench, whatever. I don't know, pallet workbench for $1. I don't know what I called it. But anyway, would you believe I had some people that give me a thumbs down that they didn't like it? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I have used the shit out of this. Like I've said before, there ain't nothing as permanent as a temporary fixture. And today, we don't have much humidity. The highs ain't gonna get much past 89 or 87. And I got my son-in-law to help me move this out of the sunshine and put it over here under the shade tree. And, you know, you can knock my workbench all you want to. By God, all it cost me is half a dozen all-purpose screws. It works. What else you need? So that's just a little blurb. I had to stick that in one of these videos. People thinking, well, people saying bad shit about my stuff. They can kiss my ass. Well, this gas tank underneath is just caked on grease under here. I mean, just caked on dust and grease. So I'm gonna clean this up with some diesel fuel. I had washed the engine with gasoline, but I've used up all my gasoline in my lawnmower yesterday, and I've got diesel fuel here for my backhoe and trencher I bought. So I'll use this diesel. Diesel does a good job. It's just doesn't cut quite as good as gasoline, but it's also not as explosive. Well, I thought I'd show you how nice this cleaned up. This was just with diesel fuel, a brush, and then I washed it with Dawn dishwashing liquid. It cleaned up very nice. I gotta take me some sandpaper. I want to clean this up on the outside. Got a little bit of surface rust out here, and I'm gonna clean that up before I paint it. I just thought I'd show that to you because I'm gonna sand it and paint it, and I may not be doing that with the camera handy. So, and I paint the underneath also. The reason I do that is not because it'll be seen. I do it because I want to protect it from rusting through. And this bracket here's got rust on it. And I'm going to Walmart here in a little bit. I'm going to get some vinegar, and I'm going to treat that with vinegar, and that's going to help slow down that rust. It'll help clean a lot of it off. Matter of fact, if I was to soak it in vinegar and just let it sit for several days, all that vinegar would be gone. And you just clean it real good, and then you got bare metal. All right, well, we'll be back with another part here in a minute. Well, alrighty then. Here it is, Sunday morning, July the 3rd. July the 3rd. It's about 7:20 in the morning. And I'm going to show y'all how to get rid of some rust. I did this with a C-clamp.
Had a rusty old C-clamp. I mean, it was rusted beyond use. And I'd heard that vinegar would pull rust. You know, that guys that was painting a car, they'd wipe it down with vinegar, you know, to pull any little bit of surface rust off the metal before they painted it. And I'd always heard that vinegar would dissolve or separate or whatever rust from metal. So I put this dadgum C-clamp in just a jar of vinegar. That's it. And I let that sucker set. I forgot about it. I let it set for about 2 or 3 weeks. And I noticed this foam on top of the liquid. Anyway, I reached in there and I pulled that C-clamp out. I rinsed it with a water hose, and it looked brand spanking new. Never had worked with vinegar like that before. And I was really impressed. So I was looking at this gas tank, you know, that goes on that lawnmower. And I was telling you in a previous video about how, or earlier in the video, about how I've got some surface rust on here. I need to get that cleaned up. I was going to sand it off. And I got thinking, you know, this might be a good time to demonstrate what that vinegar can do. You know, save a little bit of labor. I'm all about saving labor. So, I'd gotten it all cleaned up, and I noticed that this piece that they welded on there 2 or 3 times was very rusty. You see all that? So I says to myself, let's see if we can't get that all cleaned up before I paint it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put this in a plastic tub. I'm going to fill this gas tank full of vinegar. I'm going to fill the outside full of vinegar. I'm going to have this thing submerged in vinegar, pure white distilled vinegar. And I'm going to leave it for a few days. And we're going to come back to it and see what it's done. So, real careful here. Let me just point out some highlights of rust on here. You see the rust around the bolts. You see all this rust here. And this gas cap is really rusty. Don't know if you can see it or not. Don't know if my lighting is good enough in the shade this early in the morning. Got a lot of rust on this little thing here too. And I can see a lot of rust inside this gas tank. I don't think you can on the camera, but there's rust inside this thing for sure. So we're going to see if we can't vinegarize this sucker. See if we can't get her to come free of rust. So I bought me a plastic tub at Walmart. I'm gonna drop them bolts and washers in that tub. This gas cap and this little, I don't know what that thing is, anti-splash something, I don't know. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start filling this gas tank. I'm gonna just set it right down in there, and I'm gonna start filling it with vinegar. And what's gonna happen is it's gonna overflow, and I'm gonna keep on going until we get this thing totally submerged in vinegar. See, can you see that? Ah, yeah. So, I figure if I start putting it in the gas tank first, that will let any air pockets get out of it. I don't know if you can say this is doing it cheap or not, because this daggum vinegar is $2.48 a gallon. I bought 5 gallons. I don't know how much I'm gonna need. But, hell, if I have any left over, I guess I can make pickles, huh? I don't think I'll have an air pocket left in that gas tank because I pretty much think that fuel spout's probably the high spot on it. It's kind of hard to judge when you're looking at a container. Saying, well, how many gallons am I going to need? I thought 4 would be enough, and I said, well, I better get one more just in case. I think I might be glad I did. Of course, that bracket is holding this gas tank up off the bottom. If I had it turned over, it'd probably be all right with 4 gallons, but we're gonna put 5 in there. Hope it don't need 6, because I ain't got 6. Wait a minute, that was only 3. Oh, that was only 3. I thought it's 4. All right, here's number 4. Will you look at that? It ain't covering it. I have to use that 5th gallon because I got to raise it about another 3/4 of an inch in there. Well, that's why I bought 5 of them. All right, there. Now, that is totally submerged in vinegar, and that stuff will actually just start separating. Now, one of my viewers said he uses salt in his vinegar, but I don't know why a person would do that. I mean, to me, yeah, salt is what makes it rust. Unless you add salt to help break it down or something, I don't know. But everybody can see how clear that vinegar is now because we just put it in there. I'm not going to stir it. I'm not going to agitate it. I'm not going to scrub anything. We're going to see what this vinegar will do all by itself. All right, so I'm going to put the lid on it. And I will come back to it and check on it periodically, and when I see that something has occurred that's worth telling you about, then I'll film it. But if there ain't nothing happening, there ain't no need wasting your time. Well, folks, it's been about 10 days now since I put this gas tank in this vinegar, and I want to show you where we're at. I checked it yesterday or day before, and I could actually rub some of the finish off of it. So let's see what we got here now. This has been 10 or 11 days. I'm not sure if today's Wednesday or Thursday. Hell, it don't matter. I'm retired. Anyhow, let me show this to you. All right, let's see. I want you to look at how that rust just rubs off that. Can you see that? Well, I'm gonna leave it in there longer because, oh yeah, look at that. This was that piece that's all rusted up. Shoot, I see bare metal there now. Yes, sir. Like I say, it's been about 10 days. Look at that. Look at rust just fall off there. And all this is vinegar. This ain't no fancy chemicals. I don't know if red cider vinegar would do better or not. This is white distilled. I don't know if that red cider vinegar is stouter, because I think it might work better. But anyway, I'm gonna leave this in here another week, see what happens. I wanna clean the inside of it with BBs or pea gravel or something, because there is rust inside that tank. So I want to, throw something in there and shake it up real good. All right, well, we're submerged again, and like I said before, whenever I think we're at an interesting point, I'll come back. All right, we'll check with you later. We'll holler back at you. Have a wonderful day and a better tomorrow. Bye.